Jason Harris, founder of Jason's Connection. Today I'm here with Laura Jekel, founder of My Cincinnati, a program that teaches young people to play music. What is My Cincinnati?
My Cincinnati is a free youth orchestra for children who live in Price Hill, which is a neighborhood on the west side of Cincinnati. And children in the program come every weekday for 2 hours and learn violin, viola, cello, or double bass.
And what made you decide to start this organization?
I was inspired to start My Cincinnati by my own musical training and wanting to share music with a broader audience and children who might not necessarily have opportunities themselves to learn music.
And you actually based it off a program that when you were in South America. Can you talk about the program that you based it off of and how you sort of adapted it for here?
Sure. The program in South America is called El Sistema, and it's a Venezuelan program. El Sistema stands for the system, which is referring to a system of youth orchestras. And it's in Venezuela. It's a program that started in the 70s, so it's about 40 years old now. And currently there's about 500,000 or more children in Venezuela learning music in this program. And the way that it's done is through programs called nucleos, which are like little community-based music schools that are all over the country where children are learning music. And it's mainly geared towards reaching children for whom that studying music wouldn't really be an option in their life. So I traveled to Venezuela for 5 weeks as part of a fellowship program to learn about El Sistema and what they're doing there. And then like you said, I adapted it and brought it to Price Hill.
It's great. How does music education help children, especially those in the inner city or in Price Hill in particular?
There's just a wealth of benefits to learning an instrument. It has such a wide array of areas that it touches developmentally. First of all, it's just, it really helps with your work ethic, your discipline, your sense of responsibility. Also, because the children in our program are learning music in an orchestra, it really helps with the social skills and just kind of community building, learning how to interact with other people. Also, there's a lot of research emerging now about the cognitive benefits of learning music when you're young, and especially these kids who do it for 10 hours a week. When you're immersed in that really disciplined building of a technical skill, that really helps your brain develop. Also, just executive functioning skills. And I think the other piece that's really exciting about music is just the ability to the opportunity to express yourself and to be creative and to produce something beautiful and individual. So I think it's something that all young people should have the opportunity to do.
And it's part of Price Hill Will. Can you talk about that, Price Hill Will, and how it's associated with My Cincinnati?
Sure. Yeah, so My Cincinnati is a program of Price Hill Will. It's not its own nonprofit. Price Hill Will is a nonprofit that we're a part of. And their goal is to revitalize the Price Hill neighborhoods, and they do that in a variety of ways through physical revitalization, like housing, rehabbing housing, trying to attract businesses to the business district, and also a variety of community engagement efforts, and through the arts. And so My Cincinnati is one of their main community engagement programs to reach out to kids in the neighborhood, kids and their families. And so it's great to be part of an organization that already has been around for 10 years and has connections in the Price Hill community.
Wow. So what motivated you to become a musician in the first place?
Well, I think I was really lucky when I was growing up that there was an opportunity in the school I went to. I went to public school outside of Boston, and we had the opportunity to pick an instrument in 4th grade. And so I kind of randomly picked the cello, but I really grew to love it, and no one in my family is a musician. So I definitely would not have been studying music if it hadn't been for having music in the schools. and that's just it's a much more rare thing nowadays to have string education in the schools in the inner city. So that's why that's part of what inspired me to start My Cincinnati.
And what do you like most about teaching music? Because as long as playing, I mean, of course you teach.
Yeah, I think you learn a lot by teaching, and it's just really fun to be around the kids. It's different than teaching a private lesson one-on-one, but when you're teaching in a big group, you know, the dynamic is really different, and you have to find a way to make it fun for the kids, but also really push them and challenge them. So I think I like it because it's a challenge, and also because I just have fun hanging out with the kids.
What advice do you have for people who are trying to become in the music career, whether it's orchestra or any other type of music?
I think just play as much as possible. You know, you have to practice a lot. If you, you know, our program is not really designed to turn students into professional musicians. It's more to build these life skills we talked about earlier, and to give students an opportunity to express themselves. But there are, of course, students who are in our program who do want to pursue music more seriously. And I think if you want to make a career out of it, you really just have to be willing to practice many hours every day, and just kind of takes over your life if you want to do it. You have to be very dedicated to it.
Why do you think it's important for kids to have exposure to classical music, but not just hear it, but learn and play it?
Well, I guess I love classical music. I think the reason we use mainly classical music in our program is actually more of a pedagogical reason, that it's just a really good way to learn kind of all the basics, and, you know, get the basic technical aspects of playing the instrument, and it's a really good tool in that sense. And then once our students have been in the program a while, if they do want to branch out into other styles of music, I think they have all the basics to be able to do that. But I think I guess we use classical music just because it's what I know and love, and I hope that they will love it also, and that it will lead them to love other types of music as well.
How do you get kids to get interested in this? I mean, especially with it being classical music and stuff that you start playing, how do you get people to sort of be like enthusiastic?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah.
We do that in a couple ways. I think we don't really, you know, advertise ourselves necessarily as doing classical music. I think for the kids, they are really interested in being in our program because they want to learn an instrument. And I think that's so universal almost, that young kids just, you know, are attracted to the look of the instrument and the sound and wanting to hold it, and it's very appealing. So kids and families come to us, and they, you know, want to have this opportunity, and then it's our responsibility to keep them in the program by making it really fun for them, and really we want them to feel like part of the My Cincinnati family, and kind of feel very quickly like they are a musician. So even within the first week that they get there, you know, they're playing, we make sure they learn a couple songs, and so that it kind of becomes something hard for them to give up. And then maybe, you know, eventually, of course, they know that they're playing classical music. It's not like a secret, but I think that's almost incidental for them, and the most important part is playing the instrument. And also another way we try to make it fun is that myself and some of the other teachers, we do all the arrangements that we use for orchestra for the kids. So that way we can choose our favorite classical pieces, you know, pieces by Tchaikovsky and Brahms that we absolutely love, and we make arrangements that are appropriate for younger kids. So that it's, you know, it might, those pieces might be more engaging and give them a kind of a good impression of what classical music is.
Well, that sounds interesting. So it's not necessarily just starting off really slow. It's sort of progressing and having places that, you know, maybe would be more advanced, but making it so it's a little bit easier.
Exactly. So we'll take, you know, some of the greatest work, you know, the Brahms symphonies, the Beethoven symphonies, and and you know, they don't have to wait to play that music.
Yeah.
We do our own arrangements that are appropriate for them, so they can really be immersed in what we feel is the greatest classical music, you know, even from the beginning.
So what instruments do they have the options of playing, since it seems like that's the big draw?
Yeah, we just do strings right now,
Mhm.
so violin, viola, cello, and bass.
Mhm.
And there are other programs like ours, and
Mhm.
in Venezuela, of course, where
Yeah.
they have all the instruments, including, you know, piano and harp and just anything you can imagine. But we do strings,
Mhm.
mainly because, you know, I'm a string player and that's what I know, and then, you know, our teachers are all string players, so we've kind of stuck with that for now, and maybe at some point we might expand to winds and brass.
Hmm. So that's a good point. Are there other programs like that throughout Cincinnati or even Ohio or throughout the country that sort of do stuff like this?
Yeah, so we consider ourselves an El Sistema inspired program, because we're
Mhm.
inspired by El Sistema in Venezuela. And in the country, there's over 100 programs that are inspired by Venezuela's El Sistema.
Mhm.
So there's many around the country in different cities. You know,
Mhm.
some cities like LA and Boston have many different programs.
Mhm.
So and they're more and more starting every year.
Mhm.
And every program kind of has their own, you know, just like when I went to Venezuela and I took what I thought was important from my experience there and kind of use that as a format for what I started here.
Mhm.
All the other programs around the country do not look just like my Cincinnati, and they don't look just like Venezuela either. Everyone's kind of adapted it in their own way. So there's a lot of differences between programs, but there are also a lot of similarities. I think the meeting really frequently is a big one. So like we meet every day. You know, programs might not meet every day or might not do 2 hours, or they might do more hours. But it's, you know, it's not a once a week for an hour thing. It's pretty intensive time-wise. And also the ensemble group orchestra playing is a big part, I think, of any program that was going to call itself inspired by El Sistema.
So not all our youth are actually from Cincinnati or from. How would you recommend if somebody wanted to look up, like their child wanted to do this, or they wanted to do this themselves in their young child or young person, and how would you recommend looking and finding one of these El Sistema or any orchestra inspired places in your city?
Yeah, well, I think they could do a little bit of Googling and probably find it. elsistemausa.org. It's a website that has a map of different programs, and you can reach out to them. And anyone could also just contact me, and I could refer them to whatever program was in their city.
That would be great. Thank you. And we'll give you her contact information at the end. So how do you feel the state of classical music is now in 2015?
I think we have a pretty big responsibility to start to make some changes. I think there's, you know, just looking at the higher up institutions in classical music, there's really a lack of diversity, and I think that's directly related to the lack of opportunity for children. So we're trying to, you know, definitely address that a little bit, and also, you know, music education is disappearing from schools really rapidly, and so we're trying to offer something for children in the inner city and in a Price Hill neighborhood that you know, do not have that in their schools. And one cool thing is that, you know, School for Creative and Performing Arts, which is an public arts high school in Cincinnati. A couple of our kids, through learning music with us, have been able to audition for that school and then go there. So, but you know, that's one of a small handful of public schools in Cincinnati in the city that have string education, and that was certainly not the case, you know, a ways back. It was much more widespread to have great music programs in the schools.
Even just, you know, like even just getting the ability to hear it, I feel like there's such a divide between even being able to hear classical music, because it's in these great areas like these music halls and stuff, but some of that can be expensive. So having the opportunities to have the advantages of hearing it in open spaces like parks or other places seems like it could be an advantage.
Yeah, and I think, you know, we're lucky in Cincinnati that we have a great orchestra that does all sorts of, has all sorts of educational programs. You know, a lot of students in Cincinnati are bused in to music hall to hear the concerts, and they also try to perform concerts around the city. But I think that there's definitely a difference between hearing it and doing it, and that's really important for me, because, you know, for all those life-changing and transformational benefits, you need to be doing it.
Well, is there how can people get involved with My Cincinnati if they want to?
We're always looking for volunteers, and it doesn't necessarily need to be musicians only. We can we'll find a way to put anyone to use. Yeah, I think anyone who's interested in working with children or music or interested in the Price Hill neighborhood, we have a lot of volunteer opportunities.
Is there anything else you'd like to share today?
I guess it's just, I would encourage anyone in other cities who is watching this to find whatever programs are in their cities or neighborhoods and connect with them, because it's a really, it's just a lot of fun, and it's a special opportunity for the children involved. So.
Can you talk a little bit about the history of My Cincinnati and what the program's doing now and how many people are involved now?
Sure. We started in October 2011 in Price Hill in a school that we were using space from, and we had 11 children enrolled initially, and by the end of the first year, in May 2012, we had 19. And currently we have over 60 kids who come every day, so we've grown quite a bit since then.
And how many years are children in the program for?
Children can start when they're, the youngest we start for orchestra would be second grade, or going into second grade, and then, but they can also start when they're older, and then they would just stay, through high school, hopefully. We have a couple students who started with us the first year who are now going into 11th grade, actually, in the fall. So, and we try to just make musically appropriate opportunities for those older students as well.
It's great. Thank you so much.
Thanks. For more information about our program, you can check out our website, www.mycincinnatiorchestra.org.
Hi, this is Jason. Thank you for watching our video today. For more exclusive content like this, go to jasonsconnection.org. Thank you to Laura Jekel for joining us today from My Cincinnati.